Good
Good
morning,
morning,
everyone,
everyone.
and welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. to help small businesses. Now, if you guys have any questions, ask them in the comment box of the live feed. And if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. So during this live session, we will be running a poll, so please do engage with it, and I will reveal the results at the end.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a good, what day is it? Thursday.
Thursday.
Today, so my name is Tommie. This is the lovely Rebecca. We're the founders of Bambuu Brush. Today, we're going to be going through the show, talking about building a brand that helps the planet. We're going to briefly tell you about our story, why we exist, what we do, and then ways that you guys can get involved. Of course, at the moment, sustainability, the environment is such an important topic, and it's only going to be time that all businesses need to adapt certain procedures to make sure that we're doing the right thing for planet and people. So let's quickly get into it. Let's give you a quick breakdown about everything that we're doing. So our background.
Yeah, so first of all, Rebecca, Tommie, our background is all inspired by our travel experiences. Without our travel, we wouldn't be where we are today. Unfortunately, we have seen the worst side of plastic pollution, and we've also seen the amazing side of travel as well.
So Rebecca lived around the world for about 10 years, specifically in Asia. For myself, it was around 6. And as Rebecca said, we've seen the most beautiful places, but also we've seen the output specifically around plastic pollution, and how plastic pollution is not only impacting our environment and our oceans and our sea life and marine animals, but also how it's impacting people, especially those in lower socio-economic regions of the world.
So after seeing this firsthand, we knew we wanted to do something about it. And that's where we brought to life Bambuu Brush. It's a simple product, a bamboo toothbrush.
This is actually one that we've partnered with Intuit QuickBooks, which is pretty amazing. So we genuinely believe that there is a power in people. We genuinely believe that there's a power in simple changes. And if you put those two together, I think nowadays people really want to do their part for the planet. So if we can be that bridge to make it easy to start someone on their sustainable journey and open their mind up to thinking, oh, wow, there's something we can really do, I think it's quite powerful. So we launched in February 2019 with a crazy goal, #1 million by 2020, which was to educate and inspire 1 million people to make the swap from a plastic toothbrush to a
bamboo toothbrush.
Bamboo brush.
And aside from that, we launched our educational workshops in primary schools across the UK. Not only that, we also wanted to bring communities together. So we also deliver community workshops and community cleanups across the world.
And then our products that we have fund our social impact projects that we have all over the world to combat and utilize plastic waste. So we partner with an incredible charity called Humanitas Charity, who are humanitarian based, and we've come on as the environmental team to spread our message around the environment. Essentially, the environment encapsulates every aspect of humanitarian aid. So it's an incredible partnership.
So fast forward, we hit our #1 million by 2020 goal, which just shows the importance of one simple change.
And from that, we stopped from just that 1 million, we stopped over 20,000 kilos of plastic toothbrushes entering commercial circulation. We've now sold close to 2 million of our beautiful bamboo toothbrushes, stopping around 40,000 kilos of plastic. We partnered with some pretty incredible companies and organizations and people, including Virgin Atlantic, Etihad, Team GB, Intuit QuickBooks, amongst loads of others. And we've launched a number of our social impact projects around the world. So
that's us.
That's kind of us in a short spiel, but just showing that you can make a real positive impact by building a brand that helps the planet. And I guess that ties in perfectly with everything that we're talking about today. So
definitely. So talking about a brand, now we're very fortunate or unfortunate that we've seen this plastic pollution. So that's what drives us as a company every single day. Now, if you as a brand are thinking, how can we get that drive? We might not necessarily have seen firsthand the plastic pollution. There is many ways. And I personally think a great idea would be to look into the future. that can be your why. If you can see the warning signs of what scientists are predicting the world will look like, that to me is driving me every single day. Yes, our background and seeing plastic pollution plays a massive role, but now I'm looking into the future, I'm thinking about our children, I'm thinking about the next generation. It really makes me want to make a difference.
Massively. And I think, as I said earlier in the show, sustainability, our environment and the planet is going to be so integral to business as we go through, as we come out into this new world of post-COVID, and with net zero and the target for carbon emissions on the horizon. Big businesses are going to need to act on these areas. Smaller businesses are going to need to act on sustainability goals because their customer base is going to need that. I think the everyday person nowadays really wants to do their part to positively impact the environment. So it's, like Rebecca said, let's look forward at what you feel passionate about. And I think there's so many issues at the moment around the climate, but in all aspects, what do you as a brand, as an employee, as a role, what do you feel passionate about that you feel that you can grab hold of and run with it within your role and your business and your community? And I think finding that is pretty special, and it's another level of a drive and a purpose, which is kind of exciting if you look at it in a positive way.
Definitely. And I think finding is the key word. Sometimes people think it's just going to come to you, but you really have to work at it. And as you as a business, you can work together and find that together, which is really important.
Massively. So the benefits, there are huge amounts of benefits. I think you look at different stages of benefits for a business to focus on that purpose around the planet. One's going to be, in its simplest form, employee engagement. Going back, I keep saying it, and I genuinely feel passionate and believe in the power of people, but people want to do good. Naturally, people want to do good. So employee engagement, to understand that your employees have their purpose in what they want to do to tick sustainability goals. That's a great one. Community engagement, all around looking at a broader spectrum of people to get whatever your business does and delivers, to get more people involved. Also customer base. Customers will naturally now, as we move out, will naturally now go towards brands which are ticking, have the policies, are focused on the right aspects around the environment, humanitarian, all these so many different issues. So people will start using their wallets on where we need to go. And
be open about the goals. People are all in this journey together, and people are all learning together. So if you're open about it, it will be more relatable. Okay, so quickly, 4 simple ways in which you, as a business owner or someone in a role, ways you can act to build your brand that's going to help the planet. 4 simple steps. Okay, the first one, and we say this to everyone, we work with companies around helping them develop sustainability plans. But the first one, and the not the most time consuming, but it's just a great baseline, is to assess your current consumption. Okay, so look at the whole business, spend a couple of hours with the team and with managers and with employees to look at the consumption of your energy supply, your carbon emissions, so this your supply chain, looking at all the different areas in which is carbon generating. Look at plastics. Plastics are an incredible there's a power in plastic because they're very tangible. I think sometimes with carbon emissions we can't really see it, and it's to grab hold and get that inspiration of people, it's a bit too far out of reach. But plastics are tangible. Let's look at how much single-use plastics in the office, in the kitchen, all these different areas. So make an assessment, get yourself a benchmark and a baseline and an audit, essentially, of your consumption across the whole business. And going back to working together, sit down, think, maybe we could reduce how much plastic waste we're using at lunchtime. So how do we do that? Let's use bamboo cutlery. Also think about, how do your employees get to work? How many people could actually cycle into work if they have the option? And set these goals and set them together and make make it fun so that you are all in it together. Maybe you set a target that nobody's going to be using reusable coffee mugs. We're all going to be using reusable coffee mugs. There's so many ways that you can work together. And also, going back to our slogan, simple changes. One simple change, multiply that by your whole business, then you've made a huge difference together. Yeah,
so the second point is look at the low-hanging fruit, the easy things. What can we change? Okay, what's really simple? Single-use plastics. Think of the tangible aspects. Also, with your employee engagement, they can grab hold of that, and then suddenly they're thinking in their role, what else can we do? So that's the second. Third one is set some goals. So now you've got the benchmark at number one. Set yourself a goals for 6 months. Set yourself a goal for 9 months. Set yourself a goal for a year's time, and then spend another couple of hours with the team to reassess where you're at. And what you can do with that is, once you're setting them action plans, is then you can look for partners who are out there to help you through that process.
Definitely.
Whether that's bringing in people to educate your employees on specific subjects, whether that's carbon, plastics, supply chain, all these different areas. And then you can work with your teams to create even more action plans and more targets, which I think is pretty inspiring.
Definitely. I think by measuring the impact, it drives you. You can see what's working, you can see what's not working, and maybe if something is not working, you call in an expert to help you.
Yeah. And then fourth aspect, and I think it's kind of the last, not the last aspect, but I think once you've got that employee engagement, once you've got that customers, you can see your customer base is seeing that you are making these improvements. Community outreach. We run big community cleanups. We run big educational workshops. It's a brilliant way to get people involved in what your mission is. For us, it's plastics, but you could do this around so many different areas, whether looking at your specific topic of your business, whether it's IT or anything. Community engagement, to go out to schools, go out to local communities and teach people about what you're passionate in, and then bring the sustainability elements in that. And I think there's so much we forget, and we forget as big businesses forget the smaller community and the power of smaller communities. But as small to medium-sized businesses, there's a huge power in that community engagement.
Definitely.
So look at how you can positively impact your environment. So they're the four aspects. Assess your consumption, look at the low-hanging fruit. Third, work with your team to set longer goals, action plans, employee engagement, and fourth, then community outreach, which I think is, well, we're very excited. You can probably tell that we waffle on and we're very passionate about what we do, but I think there's so many exciting things that can happen by focusing on sustainability. So thanks for listening. And we now got a number of questions from all you guys who are watching in on social medias across the UK and across the world. So
thank you for that. So we'll start with Lindsay from Twitter. So I've read about banks being big funders of fossil fuel companies. Are there any ways we can bank more sustainably or ethical alternatives to the big banks? That's a great question, Lindsay. Thank you.
Yes, in its simplest form. I'm not going to go naming banks, but there are definitely certain banks which fund certain industries which aren't deemed, well, the fossil fuel industry and deforestation. So there are definitely a number of banks which you can look at, and who are more sustainable. They have more focuses around where they're investing, and also looking on that. I don't know, I can't talk too much as an expert, but in your pension pots, where are your pension pots? Because I think now it's really important to look 30 years, 20, 30 years ahead, and what are going to be the things what are going to be the industries which are going to be driving the positive change. We need that. The world genuinely can't run at the pace which we're running at the moment. Overconsumption, there's just going to be too much impact on the environment and people for that to happen. So there's going to be a change. So look at your banks.
That's a really great question. I think for you, Evan's question, that is amazing, but you can also do research behind the company as well. It's just giving yourself an extra time before you make that decision.
Yeah, and change banks. I mean, we change our banks regularly to ones that fit our personal views.
Okay, fantastic question.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Now to Tobias from Instagram. When it comes to energy consumption, I have no idea how we actually really assess the final amount. Do you have any guidelines on how to calculate this?
I can't speak too specifically, but I would split it up into two areas. I would split up into when we spoke earlier about the assessing of your energy consumption. I would split it up into certain aspects of your business. Look at your manufacturing. If you're producing something, look at what do your employees do. Look at your supply chain. Look at deliveries if you're delivering or if you're getting products coming in. Split it up as much as possible, so then you can really assess your energy consumption for that.
Definitely. I think it's just breaking it down to make it simple as well. And you can also bring in somebody to have a chat with your team to simplify it for you, because once you understand the basics, then it's easier in the long run.
Definitely. Also, the SME Climate Hub, which is Intuit QuickBooks are fully part of. There are some great resources on there, and they've got some amazing partners which can give you frameworks and give you reporting systems in which help you plug in those numbers and where to look. So then you get a good figure and a good output of that benchmark. So yeah, the SME, it's a nice little plug, but SME Climate Hub, head over to there. And then if you're not signed up, sign up now. There's amazing resources. And as we move through the year, there's going to be even more incredible resources on there. So head over to that. But thank you for that, Tobias.
Thank you.
Okay, Brian from Facebook Messenger. Hi, Tommie and Rebecca. Hello. I'm a construction consultant and have been flying the flag for planet-friendly buildings for years.
Amazing.
I always tell my clients nobody is perfect and sometimes things will go wrong. How do you handle mistakes and focus on making good eco choices? What a question.
That is a brilliant question.
I think, do you want to go?
I think that comes back to our slogan in terms of simple changes. If we all can make small changes, I think the sustainable world can be extremely overwhelming. So if we break it down and make it simple, to make these simple changes is a lot easier. Also, don't focus on the negatives too much as well. If we're moving forward, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think, Brian, in your industry, it's certainly a bit trickier because the construction world, sustainability, it isn't hard, but it's like the room for error is less. But generally speaking, we talk about transparency a lot, and I don't think there's enough transparency in business. And I think by being, again, it goes back to community outreach and customer engagement. If you can be transparent around, this is our mission, this is where we want to get to. We're not quite there yet, and these are our goals, but we are in the process of working towards that. There's ways in which people can get involved. Definitely. And then you're open with your eco decisions. We've made this decision because we've worked with this company. They've given us these views and weighed up the pros and the cons around this. So this is that. Very open, very transparent.
Don't be afraid to admit the mistake as well, because people can help you and they can send you in the right direction as well. And then also your mistake will help someone else as well not to make that mistake. Yeah,
and I just think, just in general, in the world of sustainability and CSR, I think transparency needs to be at the forefront, because no one's an expert. There are experts out there, but really no one's got that silver bullet yet about how we can generate business that also reduces emissions, and we can live at that base symbiotic level of the planet and the people. So it's just be transparent and work towards a mission. And again, I think there's a power in that transparency around that we're all in this together, and we're all working towards that common goal. But thank you for that.
Thank you.
Brian.
Okay. Amer on Instagram has asked a question. I've heard a lot about greenwashing or creative mass when it comes to reporting on green goals. How do we make sure we're not doing that?
So there's a number of platforms which I would recommend that you can. They're kind of standardized platforms. One is B Corp. It depends on where you are at in a business. We're currently going through that at the moment. It's a long process, but it will assess. It's kind of like the standard. Just type in B Corp to Google. It's kind of a standard, and it breaks down all the environmental, humanitarian, social, all the different areas within a business. And then you can, from that, it gives you a really detailed breakdown of the different areas in which you can then, you can then get certified, and you pay a yearly subscription, and you can have the logo, which is kind of like a stamp, a quality mark, and which is pretty prestigious. So I'll just look at B Corp. It's incredible. Even you can go through the impact reporting and the full reporting without paying. You can just go through and just have an assessment of where you're at. It gives a scale of, I think it's around 1 to 10, and then it says where you're at on that scale. So you can have that reporting, but then if you want to get the stamp and use that as whether that's marketing or however you want to use that, you then have to pay a yearly subscription. But yeah, go through it. B Corp, it's incredible. But yes, there's a lot out there. So I'll just go through the standard ones and do a bit of research.
Definitely. Okay, so Blessing on Facebook has asked the question, how should we be keeping our team and clients educated and informed on any climate action we are taking? We're not a big company, so sometimes all these updates can be a job in themselves.
Yeah, agreed. We run, we're not talking this to get in touch with us, but we run educational workshops for businesses. And I'm sure there's so many positive organizations and groups and people and companies out there who are doing very similar workshops, which just get the engagement of the employees. Definitely. To have that passion around what they can do.
Send out a newsletter each month informing. Also, in terms of education as well, there's some brilliant platforms to educate your employees. For example, there's Happy Eco News, which will provide you with positive eco news, which is so inspiring, and it just gives you that drive. You're not flooded with negative climate action news all the time. It's positive, so keep that in mind.
And I think that's what Rebecca said. It's that positive. We need to. There is a lot of. It's quite scary, especially some of the climate issues, which come out in the media. So to have, which sometimes turns off your employees and people in general. I just think, why we're not going to make an impact.
No.
But I think it's those positive stories that we need to get your employees engaged in it.
Definitely.
And see that, okay, some of these simple actions do really make a difference. For instance, we've inspired nearly 2 million of these to be sold, which sounds crazy. That's one simple change, but together that works out to be close to 40,000 kilos of plastic toothbrushes, which is a lot. So it's just that trying to get people to understand that simple changes on a collective, as a department, as a small business, as a full business, as a community, as a local council, like this. When you're doing something collectively, those simple changes add up, and there's a big impact that can be made.
Okay, next question. Not necessarily a business question, but did you watch Don't Look Up, and what did you think of it? That is a great question, because we did, and we absolutely loved it, and we highly recommend for anybody to watch it on Netflix.
I can imagine, because it was quite jokey, and I can imagine it being, for the scientists out there, the climate scientists, I can imagine it being so frustrating when it just summed up society very, very well, in the fact that the really important issues which are happening don't even get a mention in mainstream media, and the things that really are very jovial and very aesthetic, and they're the forefront of media. So I think if people can watch it and take a step back and just see that this is exactly what's happening in the world, and there's some really negative impacts that are happening around the world. For instance, I don't know how many people saw this, but there was a huge volcanic eruption in Tonga, and those tsunamis that happened this week. And there's also so much happening in South America, in Africa, in India, that are happening on a climate level. You've got bushfires, you've got landslides, you've got flooding, you've got so much that is happening that is directly impacting people and people's lives, and that's not even being shown. So if we can understand that there is a bigger picture here, but your impacts also make a difference, Yeah, so Don't Look Up. It's a great film. If you haven't watched it, go watch it.
And going back to that as well, in terms of finding your why, there is so many educational programs on Netflix that could give you that why. For example, there's a Plastic Ocean that we watched and it geared us on to make change.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
A Plastic Ocean is incredible. They're an incredible organisation.
Seaspiracy is also a brilliant one as well.
Seaspiracy, Cowspiracy, Eating Our Way to Extinction. There's also Kiss the Ground, which is all around the quality of our soil. There's also Connected, which is a series around how incredible the planet is and the things that we don't even know about that are happening. So there are so many. Utilize Netflix. I mean, I know people use Netflix to switch off, but maybe once a week try and use Netflix for an educational purpose. There are amazing documentaries.
Even if you set it as a task to your team or your employees, you watch that, you come in the next day and you discuss. Yeah. And then the next question we have, Lydia from Instagram. So with a bit of distance from the event now, do you think enough was done at COP26? It seems to me that the majority of the climate activist community thinks it didn't go far enough.
I'm on the fence with that. I think the right steps were taken, and I think it highlighted a lot of really big issues that are happening out there. It put a lot of question marks on big countries and organizations around what are you actually doing. There is a lot of talk, not enough action, and I think as a climate activist you would be extremely frustrated that not enough is happening. As someone from we feel like we're kind of a bit of a bridge between your everyday person and your climate activist. And I think from that sense, understanding that we need finance, we need the investment in the right areas. At the moment, the finance and the investment is in the wrong areas, fossil fuel industry. Okay, we need to divert that to the right areas. And that's the tricky bit. That's that turning, that's that momentum change. That's where we need to get hold of. So yes, we were stepping in the right direction. Not enough was done, but hopefully the fact that we're all coming back next year, and countries, big, especially the G7 and G8 countries, have got a year to set plans to how they're going to hit the half emissions by 2030, hit net zero by 2050. The fact that they're coming back next year and they've got to set these plans aside, I think that's positive. So I know you don't want to wait, but let's get to November and look at the next COP, and then we can make a better assessment. I think the last couple of years have been it's been really frustrating. 2019, there was a big push around sustainability. It was amazing. People engaged in the conversation around sustainability. Then 2020, of course, COVID hit, and we changed the mindset. But I think now is a really exciting time for looking at innovation and where we can make change. So yeah. Yes and no. I didn't really give a straight answer, but it was
great
good.
Question, Lydia, and thank you for all your questions,
Lydia.
So the poll results are in, and we asked you, does your business have sustainability and environmental goals? So 40% of you said yes, 20% of you said no, and 40% answered working on it.
I would like to have, I wonder what the answer to that question would have been 3 or 4 months ago before COP. I wonder if there's a change in that. But I think it's great that there's a lot of you doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think as individuals and as employees and as business owners, or whatever your role is, we've all got to take it on ourselves to start that wave of change in our business. I love that there's an effect called the butterfly effect, and it's essentially saying that as a butterfly in the Amazon can flap its wings, and the knock-on effect of that can change the weather cycle in New York, which is thousands and thousands of miles away. And then obviously that's very extreme, but I genuinely believe that you as an individual can inspire one person to take action, and from that there is a knock-on effect, and that one person can inspire another one person. And look at that throughout a business, look at that throughout your role and in your department. That's really powerful. So
So for the 20% of you that said no, you've got the power to go in and make a change today.
Head over to SME Climate Hub if you need any more resources. That's a great, it's just fantastic platform. Sign up, you'll get updates of what you can do. So head over to that. But thank you very much for tuning in. If you want to get in contact with us as at Bamboo Brush, feel free to drop us a DM on all of our social media. It's at Bamboo Brush spelled. We got our school uniform on today. At Bamboo Brush. Or if you need to email us directly, we are Rebecca at bamboobrush.com and Tommie at bamboobrush.com. Give us an email. Any questions, we'll answer everything as much as we can. So coming up on Ask the Expert next week on Monday is Aaron Patrick. Aaron is an accountant and head of accounts at a state-of-the-art accounting practice called Bofix. Tune in for the latest business news, accounting hacks and advice. A quick reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7, so head over to there. But apart from that, thank you so much for listening. We've really enjoyed answering all your questions this morning. Have a fantastic Thursday. Catch up with you soon.
Bye.